Good evening, this is the February 22nd meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. First up is appeal number 2018-007, Daniel Pembroke. They've asked for an adjournment till March 8th. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Mr. Seabrook,
Aye.
Mr. Barnes,
Aye.
Ms. Worthington,
Aye.
and I vote aye. You can read that. You can read the next. You got it? Okay.
Appeal number 2017-10, Timothy Murphy, West Main Street, Riverhead, tax map number 600-119-28, RC zoning for variances to and/or relief from the provisions of Chapter 301, Section 165, where the proposed building lot coverage is 9.5% of the lot area, where the maximum is 8%. The proposed floor area ratio is 0.18 of the lot area, where the maximum permitted is 0.15. The proposed front yard setback is 59.5 feet, where the minimum required is 100 feet. The proposed side yard setbacks are 10 feet and 13.3 feet, where the minimum required is 30 feet. The proposed combined side yard is 23.3 feet, where the minimum required is 60 feet, and the proposed rear yard setback is 95 feet, where the minimum required is 100 feet.
Representatives here?
I think they're just asking for an
They're
extension.
just asking for an
Oh.
extension.
I'm sorry, I thought we just, oh, I see what you did.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that appeal number 18-006 be granted an extension.
No, it's not 006.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2017-010, Timothy Murphy be granted an extension.
Okay. We have-
Second.
Okay. Mr. Seabrook?
Aye.
Ms. Worthington?
Aye.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Hey, you threw me off. I thought we were going to put usually leave the extension for last, but that's okay. We'll go. Okay, read the
Sorry,
next.
Frank.
That's all
Okay.
right. My fault.
Number 3, appeal number 2018-006, Ricardo Limited Partnership Company, 1051 Old Country Road, Riverhead, tax map number 600-1084-14.6, SC zoning for variances to and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 249E3, where proposed panels are 10.333 and 24 square feet, and the maximum permitted is 8 square feet. Section 249E4, where proposed panels do not conform in size, shape, and color and are not permitted. Section 249E6, where proposed sign addition is 56 square feet in area, added to a non-conforming sign of 253 square feet for a total sign area of 309 square feet, and the maximum permitted is 60 square feet.
We have the representative. Please, step up to the microphone. And are you an attorney?
Yes, I am.
Good. Just state your name and your address, please.
Katerina Grinko from Toomey Latham, 33 West 2nd Street, Riverhead, New York, 11944.
Okay, if you just pull that microphone up.
11901, I'm sorry.
You just pull that microphone up a little bit for you. There you go. Okay, let's see what you got,
First, I want to submit the
please.
Good evening.
Good evening, counsel.
I represent the owner of the commercial property. The owner name is Ricardo Limited Partnership Company. The member of the company is present today in the audience, and the property subject to this application is located at 1051 and 1085 Old Country Road, Riverhead. We're looking to seek this board's permission to expand the existing non-conforming primary sign at this property. We're looking to add a 56 square feet addition to the existing 253 square foot sign. The total of the sign will be 309 square feet. As was submitted and stated in the application, the property is located in the shopping center zoning district, and currently the sign is located at the northwesterly corner of the property and is shown in the survey which was submitted to this board. It is at a 20-foot setback from the westerly property boundary line and 19 feet setback from the northerly boundary line. Currently, the sign measures at 19 feet and 5 inches in width and 16 feet in height. And the applicant is looking to enlarge the sign panel with a 56 square foot addition to the bottom part of the sign. The proposed addition will provide for 4 new sign spots to accommodate all of applicant's tenants, as well as 1 store for rent and or potential new tenant sign. And we submitted exhibits with the application showing the proposed design. I also wanted to distribute a photo of the existing sign to the board and just a back-to-back comparison of the existing sign against the proposal.
That's one of the old pages from years ago. That was Leo Stern, place there in the circle. Counselor, have you been to the Architectural Review Board yet?
No, we have not. We were recommended by the building department to go before this board first to see the board members' opinion and recommendations before we appear before the ARB.
Well, we've heard of many cases on Route 58 in regards to logos and signs and colors and shapes. And I think it would be, for me, it would be great to hear what the recommendation of the ARB would be first, before we can, before I could move any further on a decision. I mean, I'm happy to hear any more information that you have.
Sure.
Provide us.
So I would like to just explain the reasons why we're applying to begin with.
Absolutely.
And also, if the board members prefer, I could also go over the standards, why we as applicants feel like we meet the criteria set forth in the code. And then if board members have any comments, we would like to hear your feedback and also show you that we went through some other alternatives. We were trying to come up with a plan and to minimize the proposal and square footage, but that was the best alternative we were able to come up with. So I just want to get your opinion, and then if the board prefers that we go before ARB first and then come back, we'll be happy to do so.
Okay.
So the main and most critical reasons for the property owner to seek permission from this board to add the signs is, of course, economical. In today's world, tenants are looking for good exposure, and unless you have good exposure, they don't want to rent a space, and they're going to go elsewhere. So property owners definitely suffer from the lack of exposure, nor he can charge the same rent if the tenant who comes into his space does not have the exposure on the main sign. Basically, as a solution, property owner thought and consulted with the building department, and we thought it would be a good alternative to be able to advertise all of the tenants who are in the commercial complex by adding their signs to the primary freestanding sign. As stated in the application, we believe that we meet all of the criteria set forth in the standards of the Zoning Board of Appeals. And first one is the variance would not produce an impact on the adjacent properties or the neighborhood. The property is located in a commercial district and historically contained and continues to contain numerous signs in the area. And we submitted for the record historical photos of the sign as this route grew, the more signs were erected, so we have that on the record. The subject sign also has been in place way before even the zoning code was established. And now the applicant is looking to merely enlarge the existing sign from the bottom portion of it to accommodate 4 of its tenants. The sign will not be relocated, it will not be increased in height nor in width. Thus, if the variance is granted, the relief will not produce an undesirable impact on the adjacent properties or neighborhood. I personally heard only from one of the neighbors who contacted me after receiving the notice, and she didn't really have any opinion about it, so she just said good luck, and that was it.
On this existing sign, have any tenants changed at all?
On the sign you're looking right now?
Yeah.
No. The only one where on the photo you see available, that was Radio Shack, and that,
Right.
you know, they left.
Well, I mean, I know this is an old sign,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not the code in that, there's multiple different logos and colors and
Right.
and we've denied applications in the past, just down the road,
Mm-hmm.
on 58 for new signs that were coming in, for the same thing that this sign, the existing sign,
Mhm.
has going on. So, is that going to stay, remain the same?
We were not gonna modify the existing sign, that we were planning to keep it in its current state. If the board is going to request something, we would have to talk to the owner and see what we would be able to do to,
Yeah, you know, I don't wanna mention any particular cases,
No,
but
absolutely.
in recollection,
Mhm.
very recently, actually, we denied more than 2 logos, and denied different colors and fonts.
so you would deny the proposal based on the fact that the existing signs don't conform with
The
their
new sign,
design?
but being that you're before us now, I know this is an existing sign. I mean, are you making any attempt to bring your existing sign up to code?
We could, the proposed signs, as far as the names of the tenants, we could possibly, if this board requests, make conforming, but we would not wanna modify the existing signs as it stands today. Because it's expense and nor tenants or owner
Yeah.
would have that money to, you know, take it down. May I continue with the standards?
Sure,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, yes.
Okay, so, the second standard I wanna, to state on the records that, this variance, is not substantial in the sense that this sign is pre-existing, non-conforming, and we're just looking to it a 56 square foot, panel. Therefore, in comparison to its total size, what we're proposing is very minimal to the bottom of the sign. The benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by alternative means. In order for us to accommodate 4 additional tenants, we would need to add these 4 panels. And the submitted application is the best alternative we could have come up with. I have brought with me just to show you, and not something I was looking to submit, but if the board would like to see other option we were considering, but that square footage would have been larger than the currently proposed. We also believe that the variance, if granted, will not cause an adverse effect on the environment. As explained, the sign has been standing in this current location for many years, and its expansion merely by 56 square feet will in no way impact negatively the environment. We are not relocating the sign, we're not increasing its height or width, and therefore the proposal will not have an adverse impact on the environment. Finally, the difficulty is not self-created to the extent when property owner purchased the property, the sign was already there, and his building allows him to have the amount of tenants he has. It's just his sign does not allow him to advertise all of his tenants. So based on all of these facts, we believe that we satisfied the test and the criteria for the grant of the area variances, and we respectfully request this board to consider the application and grant us the requested variances. I understand that the board might have comments, or if you like us to come back after the ARB, but just, we would like to hear your feedback and just get some guidance of where you would like us to go with this.
Well, I mean, you know, I know I requested for you to go to the ARB, but I would also like, I know this is an existing sign for a long, you know, many, many years ago, it was put in. But I would like to see a new application in regards to the sign, and an attempt to bring at least this sign up to code, which is not.
Mhm.
Does it have any interior lighting? Is it lit?
Yes, they do.
It is
It's a
interior lit,
double-
right?
Yeah.
It's a double-sided illuminated.
Yeah.
So it is illuminated.
Was there a permit ever issued for the lobster walk sign?
Yes, I have it, I have a permit number.
There was a permit issued for
Mhm.
that, and
I think there are 3 violations that were issued, and I'll let property owner, with your permission, jump in if he has any additional comments, just because he's sitting here, he might have more of an in-depth knowledge of his side.
well, you know, I think what we're more concerned about is anything is that it's a non-conforming sign.
It is,
It
right?
doesn't conform to the zoning code. And what you're trying to do is expand a non-conforming
That's correct.
sign that,
But it
That's
also
the racist
pre-existed, so, you know, it pre-existed the code. And it's just commercial building was built, and the amount of spaces they were, you know, constructed and allowed by building code, and now we have the spaces, but we don't have the advertisement. And
Well-
it's tough for property owner to rent, he already has vacant spaces, and financially, it's hard to sustain a building.
I understand. But there's a couple problems I have also is that the sign, if you add that additional panel, lower panel, you're gonna create a visibility problem, which there already is a visibility problem there. And there is no prohibition of making a left turn from that center. So that even makes it worse there. It's dangerous. But there are other portions of our code that need to be addressed, and that's to make it a conforming sign. I don't know what the ARB is gonna tell you, but I think that if the sign was a little more attractive, maybe, it might help getting new tenants to the facility. I know that Radio Shack left, but one of the tenants is a restaurant, is it Moe's or
Mhm.
Mo? They're constantly putting signs out, and cars with signs on it, and
Right.
that's.
But if they were to have an attached panel,
Are you
advertisement.
doing this to provide a panel for Moe's
Mhm,
Grill?
correct. Yes, that would eliminate that.
That would
And it-
eliminate all the
Mhm.
cars with signs on and blocking everything.
And also, as far as the height or how low we're going, I looked at the other signs in the vicinity and I actually measured them, and they go 6 feet from the ground. I mean, I don't know from traffic standpoint what obstacle those other signs create in the vicinity, as far as visibility goes, but they are much lower. They are smaller in size, but they situated much lower than what we are proposing.
Well, typically when people make applications for a shopping center or a sign, that's when the town, through its code, tries to improve non-conforming signs so that they become conforming signs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have to consider proposing, as Frank said, a new application. Because at what we see right now, at least in my opinion, I don't think we could prove it at this moment.
So what would it take? What the board is looking to do is for us to
Well,
completely,
First of all, the owner has to say, I want a new sign, or I don't want a new sign, and I'm gonna propose a new sign, but in its current context, I don't believe it's acceptable. I'm only speaking for myself, I don't know how the other board members feel. We've never even had a discussion about it.
okay.
I'm just telling you from my point of view. They may have a different point of view. So the owner should consider a new application to deal and make it a conforming sign. And it may make the center a little more attractive. I mean, they have the Verizon there. It is an attractive center, even though it's been around for a long time. It's been there for many, many years.
new application and completely new sign that would be very costly. That's something the property owner would have to really think and,
I understand.
Yeah, you know,
because this is a pre-existing sign and it's been, and I understand that we're trying to improve our neighborhoods, but it's it's burdensome, you know, to completely eliminate this sign at this point.
Go
When
ahead.
we are looking just to add the 56 square foot panel.
So I'm just, listening a little bit and I'm looking at what the code says, and I think what the board's sort of expressing is that while they appreciate that it's a non-conforming sign, that there wasn't a lot done to really try to conform with the code requirements. So, and the application is basically just exacerbating the nonconformity.
Right.
So while there are other non-conforming signs along Route 58 in that area, which, would be similar to what you have, the objective of the code would be to reduce the non-conforming signs in the area, and eventually the code would create a much more pleasing aesthetic. So if you're looking at what the directory signs in the code require, some of the things that your client might consider, which wouldn't be terribly costly, would be, one of the things that it requires is coordinated size, color, lettering, and sign shape, so that no sign is more prominent than another, or, so that the colors are more uniform, they're not as, garish as they might have been allowed in the past. And so, maybe if the sign remained,
Same in size.
similar in size, but try to at least accommodate some of the requirements of the code so that it looks better, because all that happens when they approve a sign is an exacerbated nonconformity, is that a sign that doesn't conform and might be considered unattractive is just made worse. And so I think that's kind of maybe, I'm summarizing what they're saying, and
Yeah.
certainly they're looking for the Architectural Review Board's input on it, because they would give those, but, I think that,
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
give the ARB board a lot of
We
weight
would,
as to what they have to say.
so,
and it's
I just,
also illuminated from inside, so that's another thing you might wanna consider, maybe it's illuminated in a different way, that's not as non-conforming, reduce the overall non-conforming nature of the sign, because
you know,
typically,
right.
it's non-conforming in every single
I mean,
way.
there's a lot of different ways of saying it.
right.
Nice, some things that, everybody likes to say things a little nicer maybe, but the sign's a non-conforming sign, and you're asking us to approve a bigger non-conforming sign. So, that's basically the crux of what we're saying to you.
But it is
Yeah.
a pre-existing, but I understand the board's position. I
Yeah.
just, so even if we were to make the all four newly proposed panels conforming to the code, the board would still prefer to see the entire large sign completely or more conforming to the code. Is that correct?
I would like to see it conform more to the code, yes.
The whole sign.
The whole sign, yes. It's only fair for everybody if we look at everything the same way,
Yeah, it is, but it's also very tough for property owners, it's not it's expensive, it's expensive, project, and we were just hoping that the board will be, in understanding of that, and considering the size of the proposal, we're, so,
I think certainly the board takes that into consideration, but also remember that if they say yes to an exacerbation of a completely non-conforming sign, basically non-conforming in every single way, then the next person that comes in and asks for the non-conforming sign to be increased in size and other non-conformities, they're in a difficult position, and the objective of the code is to eliminate the non-conforming
I
sign.
understand, yes.
So they're not moving in the direction that the town board has asked them to do when they approve those kinds of variances.
I understand. If we present this application to ARB and get some guidance from them on the possible revisions to the sign and then present it to the board. I just wanted a little bit more kind of, I guess, specific guidance on what exactly you're looking us to do.
Well, I mean, it's in the code.
Yeah, sure. And the property owner wants to talk too, so.
If you raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Just state your name and your address, just speak into the microphone, please.
Yeah, my name is Neil Siegel, and my address is 21 Reynolds Road in Glen Cove. We don't want to be here. We wanted to leave everything the way it was. We were happy. Here's the realities. I just have to appeal to you to understand what the big picture is. First of all, national companies have spent millions of dollars to build up their logos. I don't care. I'd love it to look like Manhasset, like a beautiful everything in gold and everything. I really would. I can't rent my stores anymore. Companies don't want to deal with us. So here's the thing. All these companies paid to have those logos and everything there. I can't tell them, their leases allow them to. Now, it's one thing if I had a tenant who was coming in and I said, you like my property so much, you know, you gotta go with a red sign and this size, but I can't anymore. I don't have that power. I'm begging for them to come in at anything, just about short of losing it. So, you know, they paid to have these logos and they're there. Those who are there expect to have their logos, and they had the right in their leases to have what they had, at least. So changing that becomes an impossibility, especially when I'm in such a weak position with regard to the economy, their stores, and how it's all running. So I have a problem with trying to go backwards in terms of how the signs are. The things that we were trying to propose here were we understood that you'd want to keep it clean and neat, and I'm trying my best. There's nothing for me to be gained in this. I'm not doing this because I can charge more rent. I have vacancies for over 2 years there. I haven't had one person look at Radio Shack. And trust me, I'm not asking too much for rent. If I told you the people, I get a call, you can't imagine what the calls I get. It's so hard, I'm struggling to rent the place. My values are dropping precipitously, and the tenants have threatened me, I mean, as nicely, they said, Neil, we want rent reductions. We had Payless Shoe go bust, Radio Shack go bust, OTB go bust. So they're coming to me and they say, we want rent reductions. And I'm doing anything to make a deal with them. So Moe's came to me and the bank came to me. The Chinese guy has always wanted to have a better sign, and we told him, no, gotta go. And they came to me and they said, we're struggling, we need your help. We need more business. And I said, and I'm a retailer, I said, fine. I said, I don't know what to do for you. So anyway, signage is a big deal, as you know. If you have a blended sign that looks so perfect, they spend all their money to be identifiable so that people will easily recognize them. To have everything in a red, little block, it defeats the whole purpose of having a sign. It becomes a generic red thing. So anyway, the 4 signs that we're trying to put there, I was aware of the concerns about traffic. I myself drive up, and I'm in here every couple of weeks. I know what a left turn is like out there, and it does say no left turn, but we made sure that it was high enough so you could see the oncoming traffic. We tried to keep it neat and conformity in terms of the existing sign conformity, not conformity to the specific current rules. And we're just trying to accommodate them. I'm not making any money on these tenants who have asked me to help get them signs. I've only agreed to get their contributions, and I would put in my own time and my own effort. Our legal fees, and the whole thing is costing us just to keep them there. And because if I show a person a space and tell them, oh, you can't be on the sign, it's killing me. So I'll stop. I know.
No.
This is why I paid her to speak for me, because I get so upset, but we're struggling just to survive and keep business. And this is not like, we're getting rich, because this is a pass-through charge. I'm not even making money. I'm just trying to help my tenants, and they kind of honestly deserve it. They're working very hard themselves. So I'm just trying to give them the minimum of what I can to keep them quiet, to keep them happy, to hopefully pray that they'll stay with me, because all of them are starting to really grumble, and I understand why. My brick and mortar is starting to get really worthless, and I'm freaking out about it. So the sign is like the best I can do. So to go back and to turn it into a lovely center and everything, if it could generate the rents to make that happen, I'd be happy to. I'd make more money. anyway, that's the big picture. I have vacancies that are going for a long time. I have tenants who are clean, professional running tenants without signage out there. A bank wants a sign. They want to use their logo. They spent millions of dollars to develop it. And now, if I told them, oh yeah, well, you can have it, but it has to be red, it's like, well, what's the point? So I just appeal to you that that's the struggle we're having. It's not because we don't want to comply. It's, we don't, it's why it doesn't work. It doesn't happen, so please take that into consideration. I don't know, you know, everything else we try to comply with, you know, whatever they tell us, fix a fence, no problem, fix a pothole, fix a sign, we do that stuff, you know? We're trying to be, we've been here a long time, you know, and we've just tried to say, look, we'll pay our, we do our part for you, leave us alone, we'll be professional, we'll fix things, we'll do things right, clean the sidewalks, do this, that, fine, no problem, that's the job. This is something that's needed, it's really needed, and you know, so, I've made my point, I guess.
No,
Thank
you
very
definitely
much.
made your point.
Thank you for hearing me, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
But we're between a rock and a hard place ourselves.
It's gonna get worse,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm not a negative person about this, I mean, I've always been through ups and downs, but I haven't showed the guys and dolls space. If I told you how many, you know, you get a lot of amateur people who, I'm like anybody, just make me an offer, live with me on it, they, you know what I mean, and it's not coming out there, of any sort. So I don't know what to do, and that's, I you know, I don't, you know, I saw in the paper, somebody mentioned, it will get worse, I'm afraid. And, you know, anyway, I don't know what the answer is, but retailers, at least in their minds, and I was a retailer, signage is real important, to be visible from the road, and it's respectfully low, it is a busy, you know, it's an active commercial street, so it's not like we're glaring in somebody's face with something ugly. We're trying to keep it clean and professional, that's why we even said come up with some alternatives, so we can, I want it to look nice too,
Okay.
you know? So, anyway,
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks very much.
wait, we take it to the ARB and then we'll just, yeah, let's just take it to the ARB, come back and let's see what we can work out.
Okay,
Okay.
so that, we'll do that.
All right, is there anyone else be heard? No, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that appeal number 18-006, Recuerdo Limited Partnership, be adjourned until after the applicant has it reviewed by the Architectural Review Board. What date would that be?
Well, let's make it for the next meeting. If they don't get to sit down with the ARB, then we'll put it off to another meeting. That's-
So we'll request to appeal, to adjourn the appeal till March 8th.
They can always make it, yeah. Okay. Do we hear a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Ms. Worthington?
Aye.
Mr. Seabrook?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so we'll see you folks on the 8th. If you don't get to the ARB before that, just call us, and whatever date is good for you, we'll try and work with you as best we can, okay? All right. And we certainly understand your position, and again, we'll see what we can do, okay? All right. I make a motion to accept the minutes to the last meeting.
So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
It's an echo. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, all right, I make a motion, we adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Were you folks here for this, or are you here for another one?
We're here for the, I believe they're gonna have a hearing for, right next to Riverhead Lodge. They were supposed to be doing something next to the Riverhead Lodge. I guess a medical building or something. Right on Royal, right behind Royal Avenue.
Not on our schedule.
You sure it's not the shopping
Was it on
center?
the website?
You're talking about across from Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Is there,
You know where Meineke is and behind the,
yeah,
they have some land that they're gonna be,
clearing?
They wanna build a little medical center there, or?
Oh, in the back part, right, they've always tried to do something with that,
That's Augie Grover's.
yeah, that's not in front of us.
I think that's in front of planning. This is zoning.
This is zoning board.
Who's they?
Town hall over here.
Who's they?
There's a planning board too, it might be in front of them.
Do they meet tonight also?
No,
Tonight, but I'm 99% sure it's tonight.
It's not on the agenda.
They didn't meet tonight, that's okay, I'll go to the next one.
yeah, they meet on Thursday nights too, they're opposite
All
us.
their agendas are online.
Right.
go to Town of Riverhead, go to online, and then they show you the agendas when they meet and what the subject matter is. Okay?
Or you can call in, ask for Clarissa, and she'll,
I'll find out.
okay,
Sorry about that.
you're welcome.
Just here to learn.
Well, it was a quiet night. We learned a lot of lessons tonight.